I wanted to share with you a little bit about that song that we just sang, I Am So Blessed. Karen Drucker wrote that song. And she said that she was at a conference, the Asilomar conference, and heard a speaker, Mark Vieira, Reverend Mark Vieira, from the Church of Religious Science. And he said that he was going through a terrible time facing the impending death of a loved one. And all he could think of to say to himself was, I am so blessed. I am so blessed. And she said that that really hit her, that even when things go so badly and so what we feel is wrong, if we could just say to ourselves, I am so blessed and grateful for everything that I have, it's going to make a big difference in our day. So she was so inspired that she decided to write that chant. And she said, I have learned that taking time to give thanks for all that I have has made such a difference in my life, especially in those darker times when I can't see or feel the goodness and the thankfulness. And as Meister Eckhart said, if the only prayer you say in your whole life is thank you, that would suffice. If we could go to the next slide for a moment, please. So I feel that being grateful means that I realize that my attitude depends totally on my inner spirit and trust that God is standing under me and my decisions, and that is enough. And now as we start our community service, I wanted to make sure that we weren't all looking at each other, so Kathy volunteered to come up and be first. Thank you. Yay! Give her a hand.
Well, this isn't exactly about being grateful, but I have a book, a folder with aha moments and things I've read that have really been something for me. So this is from Nelson Mandela's 1994 inaugural speech. And it means so much to me because I realized as I read it that I am a good person. I can influence other people to be good. I can make a difference in this world. And so I'll go on with it. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. I'm powerful. Boom. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us most. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? I'm me. I'm Kathy. Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we shine our light, as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So that's my contribution for today.
I want to go next because I have seen Kathy grow so in the last few years, and she is a powerful person. This idea of just being. I had another poem that I was going to read today. But then this morning, my husband reminded me of something more important. It's a poem when we left our roots on the shores of Lake Erie in 1960-something. We had a wonderful life. We had a perfect life. We had friends that had known all our warts and loved us anyway. And they couldn't believe that we were leaving that. Because we had this thing about California, a trip, moved to California, the Golden State. Well, the journey to California had been symbolic as I look back. And we spent, of course, as most of you know, 11 years on the road just recently before he passed. But he wanted to leave something with our assembled friends that had a going away party, and the whole village was there in the fire hall that we built from fish fries and things. And this is the poem. Beyond the east, the sunset. Beyond the west, the sea. And east and west, the wander thirst that will not let me be. It works in me like madness to bid me say goodbye, but the seas call, and the stars call, and oh, the call of the sky. I know not what the white road, where the white road runs, nor what the blue hills are, but a man can have the sun for his friend, and for a guide a star, and there's no end of wandering when once the voice is heard. For the rivers call, and the seas call, and oh, the call of a bird. Yonder the long horizon lies, and there by night and day, the young ships, the old ships, draw to home again. The young ships sail away. And come I may, but go I must. And if they ask you why, you may put the blame on the stars and the sun and the white road and the sky. I didn't recognize it then when we encountered that poem, but that has been the metaphor of our life as we've journeyed and found the hills, the valleys, the rivers, and the sky. Thank you.
Well, I haven't memorized any poems like that. I can start 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth to this continent a new nation, and then I don't know anymore after that. But gratitude for me is a daily thing. I start my prayers in the morning with the gratitude prayer. Because after all, everything I have inside me, my love, my dependence on God, you know, my ability to speak to people, speak with people, all of those things that other people consider good, I didn't do for myself. God did for me. God put me in a path, whether I liked it or not. And He patted me along until I got the message. Sometimes He had to pat me really hard, you know, to say, go down this road. I want you here. And I have today more things than I can imagine to be grateful for. Og Mandino, who is a writer, wrote a book called, I can't even remember the name of the book. Anyway, he is discussing this with someone, and he says, how can you be ungrateful when you have eyes that see, when you have lips that speak, and when you have a body that can move about and spread God's love to other people, and you have skin, and you have feet, and you have hands. And he just went on and on about all the things. If you can't find anything to be grateful for, there's skin holding you together, you know. So we'd like to welcome everybody that's coming back. I really appreciate seeing some new faces. It's nice to have you, and I'm grateful for you. Thank you.
Hi. One thing is I'm grateful to be here, and very much so. But I'm actually grateful for the journey that brought me here this year. And I don't know if many of you know, but it was one journey fraught with problems that turned out to be blessings because they weren't problems, they were part of the journey. So I start my journey out in Michigan, and I don't even make it out of the state, and the battery light goes on in my car or on the truck. So I pull over and I spend the night in a parking lot right next to a repair shop. Now how? Okay, grateful. So I wake up in the morning and I go over and they replace a battery and an alternator. So I'm thinking, yay, wonderful. I get up back on the road, I don't know, 1 o'clock. Second day I'm driving along, and I'm in Cuba, Missouri. And battery light goes on. So I pull over again and I stop and the battery light goes on in one of the nicest travel centers that you could ever find. I mean, I almost felt like I was in a spa, which is very different than a travel center that you usually know. There was a garden setting and it was great. Okay, so I call and this guy comes from an hour away to the travel center to check my battery light. So he's got the hood. He's a young kid, and new on the job, I find out, brand new on the job. And he's looking in the hood of my car, and he's looking at the new battery, and all of a sudden he looks up at me and he says, I think that battery's bad. And I said, you're kidding me. How can that battery be bad? It's only 1 day old. It can't be bad, you know? And he says, ma'am, it's like a box of condoms. You hope they all work, but sometimes one of them doesn't. I know. So he tells me that, and I thought, will you please just search this out just a little bit more? And he keeps going, and he gets to the alternator, and he goes, maybe it's the alternator. And I'm thinking, I just had that replaced a day ago. So he gets to the second battery and he says, it's the second battery. And I'm going, I hope so. So at this point, I'm calling his boss. I said, are you sure that, all of this can possibly be? He says, yeah, he's checked it all. The boss calls, talks to him. So I end up driving with this guy into this place called Cuba, Missouri. Is that ever the sweetest little town? You would love it. It's a blend of Western and Eastern, and it's a fun town. So he fixes everything, plus the latch on my hood, and I get started again. I'm thinking, great, day 3, I can get going, I can get moving, I'm getting closer to Yuma. Now it's the day before Thanksgiving. And I stop in and this place isn't so wonderful. And I stop at the travel center, though, and everything. Get back in the car to start it, and the doggone battery light goes back on. And I'm thinking, okay, 2 new batteries, new alternator. What's that about? So I find a guy. This is how grateful I am for the people that you see coming across the United States. This is in Oklahoma now, Big Cabin, Oklahoma. And the guy says, ma'am, I call his number. Of course I can help you. I have nothing to do on Thanksgiving. I will help you on Thanksgiving Day. I went, wow. Sure enough, he shows up at 8 o'clock, and he wants me to go with him 5 miles away to his record service shop. Now I got a little bit nervous. I thought, what's over there at that record service shop, So I call 911, and I say, there's this guy here, and his name's Thomas, and he wants me to go to his wrecker shop with him if he jumps my car and whatnot. And the 911 operator says, oh, that's Thomas. He's from such and such towing. He's a good guy. You'll like him. It'll be just fine. So I go with Thomas to the wrecker service, and sure enough, he fixes my car. I have an F-250 diesel truck. And he's looking at it, and he can't figure out what the problem is. It's got 2 new batteries, a new alternator, and it's still the battery light is going on. What is the problem? He calls a friend of his who has an F-350, and he puts it right next to my F-250, and the two of them, and I saw them out there working really hard to figure this out. So I offered him. Lucky had asked me to bring her Werner's Pop or soda from Detroit area, because everyone from Michigan, the minute you get sick, you have a Werner's. I mean, it's just what you do. You know, it's just what you do. So I say to these guys, they look like they were working hard. It's Thanksgiving Day. I offer them Vernors. They're going, oh, I hate ginger ale, but I like this, the one says. And we just had it, they had a little party with the Vernors. So anyway, they've got the two cars. The guy had told me my minimum charge is $200 when I called him, because I'm used to working on big rigs. So they have the two cars. They do this compare contrast. They decide that some wire is missing from the battery to the alternator. They put in a wire that they invent on their own. It's not a typical thing. And the doggone car starts working again. And I said, okay, how much do I owe you? He says, you know, ma'am, that didn't all go the way I planned it. And things weren't just right, and I don't feel like I did the best job I could have to fix it, but it'll run. I guarantee you it'll run. How about just $100 for Thanksgiving? So I give him his $100 in cash, I make sure, and a few Vernors, and I leave. So then next day, now here we are down the road, and I'm in Milan, New Mexico. I get up, start the truck, and nothing. It won't go into gear. It will not go into gear. So there I am. I'm thinking, nice travel park I'm in here. And I walk next door to the truck repair shop. And I find the guy behind the counter, and I said, my car won't go in gear. I don't know what the problem is. I've had battery trouble all the way down here, but this is the first time it's been with the car going in gear. And he says, you know, lack of fluid will make it hard to go into gear. I'll call Scott and have Scott take you over there. So Scott comes, I get in the car with him, we go over to my rig. He looks in there. Sure enough, it needed transmission fluid. So he puts the transmission fluid in, and making a deal with the guy inside the travel center. I'm just going to I don't know how much transmission fluid I need. I'll just go in and get, a quart at a time, and then I'll just settle up with you later. The guy says, fine. So he does that. So I end up owing 3 quarts, So I come to the end of Scott, and I said, Scott, how much do I owe you for this trip, for this thing? He says, you owe me absolutely nothing. I just thank you for, and I said, well, thank you. He says, no, it's fine. So I hand him about 4 Vernors, and he goes off with some Vernors. And drives away, doesn't wait to see if I'm going to walk in to that travel center and pay for that transmission fluid. But I do. I go in and pay for the transmission fluid and whatnot. And then I got back in the car and on my way, and then eventually made it last night late to Yuma. And it had ended up taking me 6 days when it usually only takes me 3 or 4. So what I'm grateful for is if anybody hasn't figured it out, is there are absolutely wonderful people throughout this whole United States. And I got to be the lucky recipient of wonderful people behaving wonderfully. And I'm grateful.
I'm amazed at how things come in order, if you want to call it that. We sang that song, Blessing. And I have a little thing that I want to read, and of course, what is it? A blessing is a hopeful prayer. A blessing is one way of asking for God's divine favor to rest upon others. The ancient blessing of these verses that I will read in a moment helps us understand what a blessing is supposed to do. in 5 parts conveying hope that God would, number 1, he's going to bless and he's going to keep them in favor and protect. Number 2, make his face to shine upon them. Be pleased. Number 3, be gracious, merciful, and compassionate. 4th, turn your face towards them. Give his approval. Give peace, number 5. When you ask God to bless others or yourself, you are asking him to do these 5 things that ask God to bless others or yourself. You are asking him to do these 5 things. The blessing that you offer will not only be and help the one that's receiving, it will also dominate love, encourage others, and improve a model of caring for others. The scripture is Numbers 6, verses 22 through 26. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. Namaste.
I don't know why I'm staggering. That's I had eye surgery. I had a cataract this week, so I have one good eye. So hopefully this will play out. I thank you. Okay, since I have a captive audience, I have 2 poems, everyone. Language of the Heart is the first one. The original language we are born with is language of the heart. Imagine viewing the world with no boundaries but the scope of the original art. Maybe that's why we come with no language or words, but just the purest of vision with no reference for the absurd. In the reverence of silence, we can return there once more and bask in the oneness of the unending shore. Whatever land we come from, we all begin the same, and we will all once again return to that glorious heavenly plain. Wow. And my son even requested that I send him that, so I was... I did, yes. Okay, and this is kind of a whimsical thing on that, the choice to rejoice. Even within the words of choice and rejoice, 3 letters within the words give a clue. Oh, I see. How much easier could it be made to see? Thoughts are merely clumps of letters and words. To choose a sad thought would be completely absurd. When the uneasy thoughts want to linger on, remember the OIC clue and say to yourself, you little buggers need to be gone. Let the OIC notes ring loud and clear. It's a sure way to dissolve any fear. Once we're back within our natural space of grace, we're aligned with ourselves and ready to run our race. Just remember to listen for the true voices and allow that voice to be the choice to rejoice. And I'm so grateful to see every one of you, the returning ones and the ones that we get to see all the time. It's really, really good.
Thank you.
A new thing.
Oh, wow.
One of our newest.
I guess I can see it without my glasses. Well, I'm grateful to be here and to meet all these new friends. back in 1995, I did a vision quest. I don't know if you know what that is, but you go out into the nature and be by yourself for 4 days. And it was one of those things that when something presents itself to you 3 times in a row, you know you just have to take advantage of it. And that's kind of how that turned out. And this was in California where I lived. And it was just really awesome. I know at the beginning of it, I kind of wandered off, and I couldn't find my way back to the group. And it was kind of a metaphor, like at that time of where I was feeling kind of lost. And but then when I was out by myself, I just felt so, sometimes at home I would feel lonely and just feel alone, and I just felt not alone. I just felt really one with nature, and it was really awesome. So I ended up writing this song, and I'll apologize ahead of time because I don't think I'm the greatest singer, but I wrote, and I'd been going to the Center for Spiritual Living in Santa Rosa for over 20 years, but so anyway. I'm nervous.
We love you, Diane.
Okay. We are all one, we are all one, one with each other, one with nature, one with the Spirit, one with God. Bring to us your wisdom, bring to us your purpose, bring to us your Spirit, one and all. Take in our blessings, take in our loving, take in our giving, one and all. We are all one, we are all one, one with each other, one with nature, one with the Spirit, one with God.
Beautiful. Yeah, John.
It takes a lot of courage to get up here and do what we're all doing this morning. So I applaud all of us. I think that's fantastic. I'm taking the poem out of Daily Word. It's Messenger of Happiness. Oh, let me shed a little light on someone's path, I pray. I'd like to be a messenger of happiness today. It may be just a phone call, a smile, or a prayer, or a long-neglected letter that soothes the edge of care. I want to spread some happiness in what I say or do. I want to make life sweeter for someone else, don't you?
You okay?
I am. I am wonderful.
You are, yes.
And it has been an amazing time of listening and sharing and hearing. It's incredible to think about Thanksgiving and all the things we're grateful for and how easy it is to be grateful when things are going well. But you've heard this morning stories of when things were not going well and how being grateful turned it all into a blessing. I think of the people in Puerto Rico, the people in the California wildfires, the people who suffered from Hurricane Irma and Harvey, and everything that happened to them, and wondered, how were their Thanksgivings this year? I think they were super grateful and very, very thankful. And I'd like at this time for us to just say into the air, just close our eyes and say the things that we're grateful for. Just blurt them out. There are so many. John, children,
The love of good community.
Unity Center of the Desert,
Each and every one of you.
Lynn, can I say something?
absolutely.
At Thanksgiving, we went around the table and Kat asked us what we were thankful for, grateful for, and I told her my thing. And I got home that night and I thought, we all said positive things that we're grateful for. They were all positive things, and I was sitting here thinking, I'm grateful for everything, good and bad. I added that to my gratefulness list. Even challenging, I won't say bad, challenging things.
You know, it's interesting that you bring that up because I just read something about it doesn't matter what we've gone through or how many challenges we've had. That's what makes us who we are right now in this moment. So we are very grateful for that. So I'm going to ask Dave to come up. He's wanted to wait until right before the meditation because it goes along with with Kat's meditation. So Dave, you're on.
I guess it's been a few years back now, but a big part of spiritual connectiveness is through meditation and prayer. And I was blessed to have an opportunity to spend some time with Kat in her meditations. And I found one that's similar to how she would walk us through ours in our 20-minute session that we did. And meditation is easier with practice, I want to say. There's going to be that roadblock. I've heard a lot of people when I talk about this that there's the chatter in their head they can't get out of and this and that. What I try to do when I hit it is meditation to me is bringing in alignment. And I like to call it heart, mind, and soul. And when you find that alignment, you can find that peace, that balance where you want to be. And I've used this term before, and it's not the crazy rock and roll singer, but when you find that purple haze is what I call it. And I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to look for that. I'm going to pause the reading here, and you'll know when I pause, I'll stop. I want you to, at that point, I kind of narrow in, like I don't go cross-eyed, but I kind of come towards my nose with my eyes closed, and I'll find a purple tone of things. And when I hit that, there's nothing else happening. There's silence. So I'm going to give us an opportunity each to find that point. And I'm going to start out with how Kat would always start out ours. And it's just kind of an easy way to get into flow. Now, of course, we're going to be breathing all the time. Some people prefer to breathe in the nose and out the mouth. I always did my nose. It's up to you guys. I would like us to get centered. They always say get comfortable. No, I'm not going to tell you to put a stick in your back, but get centered. Put your feet level on the ground. I like to bring my hands together. Some people don't. I'm not concerned about that. And give yourself a little bit of an upright posture. Breathing in, fill up your heart. Breathing out, let it all go. Continue breathing in and out as you move through this meditation. Gently let your body relax. Feel relaxation flow slowly from the crown of your head into your neck. Relax your eyes and your mouth and your head. Feel tension leave the back of your neck and your shoulders. Let relaxation pour down your arms into your hands and tension flow out through your fingertips. Your back and your chest are relaxing. You are feeling relaxation in your stomach and your hips and your pelvis. Relaxation is pouring down your thighs, your hips, and your knees. Your legs are feeling so relaxed, as are your ankles and your feet and your toes. Go back and check your body for any leftover tightness and bring relaxation there. And then return your attention to your breathing. Know that as you breathe in, you are breathing in positive energy, power, love, and goodness. And you are breathing out tension, anger, and resentment. This is that centering point. Breathe in and breathe out. Just be with your breathing for a while. And when you're ready, count to 5 very slowly before you open your eyes and come back to the room. Well, welcome back, everybody. I don't know if anyone had the opportunity in just that short moment of pause to find where, like I said, what I call the sweet spot or not. There's a variety of different techniques, but the basis that I found that worked the easiest is once you've kind of mentally walked through your body and brought that relaxation, you can feel your shoulders dip a little bit. You can feel the easiness in your breathing in your chest. You finally feel the bottom of your chair when everything is just relaxed. It's a solemn point. And there's when like I said, I do some different tricks with it. It's hard to find sometimes when someone's speaking, which is why I wanted to give you an opportunity of the silence to see if you could bring that together and whether or not you were able to find that mystical change, the hue change in your vision. But when I found that and I've gotten there, it's a pure spot. It doesn't last for a very long time. I'm still working on that, where I've heard other people can get there and stay there for a considerable amount of time. I don't have that blessing just yet, but it works. I know that I can fall into my spot very quickly, which is pleasurable. And I can use that in any moment of the day when you can find that quick centering point. So my blessing for everybody is to be able to be centered with oneself, spirit, mind, and heart. And I love you all. Thank you for coming. Thank you. And I'll have Kat come up and run us through the real meditation.
You know, Dave is right. If you do get to practice, it becomes very, very easy to just close your eyes and be there. And I recall the first time it happened to me, I was so impressed that I brought myself right back to reality. Just, oh, well, I'm here. So if that happens to you, you can just pass it off and do it again. Keep practicing. A couple of things while you're nice and relaxed and fresh out of one meditation before we go into another. Everything that is happening to you is happening through you. And everything that is happening through you is happening for you. And I think we heard a lot of examples of that today, things happening. Rest quietly in your heart with the knowledge that all is perfection. I am safe in God's care, It is safe for me to open to trusting all, for we are all one in mind and spirit. Now, if you want to close your eyes, take a couple of deep breaths and know that God supplies all of your needs. And isn't that a beautiful thought? We are fed, we are clothed, and we are supplied in every need that we have, straight from the center of the source of it all. We can now just let go of everything and enter into a state of peace. This is the peace from within that is perfect peace. I am aware of the infinite intelligence working through me. I am guided by divine wisdom. Perfect intelligence directs my thoughts. And because we're approaching the holiday season and getting into the season of blessings and joy, gifting, you have some gifts. And if you look around, you see a card, and it reads, "Dear beloved child, I have left some gifts for you. Use them, enjoy them, and know that they are always there for you. I love you, God." The gifts you receive are love, peace, gratitude, wisdom, joy, laughter, kindness, compassion, truth, the truth of you. Rest among these gifts for a while. And as you begin to slowly return to the room, know that these gifts are always with you. You just need to reach, and it's right there. Use them with gratitude. Namaste. Oh, I'm not done. What am I doing?